Welcome, beautiful humans. It's Jenny Oceans. It feels nice to be back. As always, I want to show my respect for the original custodians of this land, where I reside right now, the Bundjalung people, the Bundjalung land, the Bundjalung tribe, and the Yugambeh people. Forever grateful for the connection that the original custodians have created with this land. Forever grateful to be able to call this land my home. Grateful for the connection that's been created. The connection with Earth, to live on Earth and with Earth, together with her in harmony. The understanding and the knowledge that's been created that is shared with us. Every day I feel grateful to call this place my home. Respect for all who's walked before us, all's walking with us, and all that we walk after us. Thank you. Welcome, everyone. And as you know, I don't cut, I don't polish. I believe in truly being true and authentic in all and everything that I do. I teach people, I show people how to live a true, authentic life. So I got to show up in my true, authentic self always. What I'll be sharing with you today is something very different. I'll be sharing a part of my chapter out of my book. And I was surrounded by snakes and rats on top of the hill on my own. So life, I see life as a book. Our life is a book filled with different stories and chapters. And they are just that. They're chapters. It's part of the game. It's part of our life. And I have come to the part of my life, which I did within the last 6 months, where I have truly embodied my true self. I've come to a place where I have so much deep, unconditional, pure love for myself. And I have come into this place of feeling deep peace and bliss. So when a friend asked me, she's like, you don't share enough. I was like, I see no need for it. And today I shared a part of a chapter. I shared an old chapter because our life is a book that we are creators of. Whether that's being conscious or unconscious, we are still creating our life every single day. The life you're living right now is what you created in the past. What you will live tomorrow and the next day is what you're creating now. But the amazing part is when we choose to truly finalize our chapters and put a full stop to it and finalize all chapters that are open. So every single chapter of our life that is still unfinished, and they're unfinished because we haven't acknowledged them. We haven't finalized them. They're still open cans of worms. There's still things that aren't finished. And if we're not finishing our old chapters, it is impossible to continue writing our book, our life, as a place from coming of that true authenticity, where we're scripting a future where we're truly living the life we desire to live, because it is impossible to continue and to script and to embody the woman you truly want to be. If you haven't finalized your previous chapters, it's like a computer. It's like having a million windows open. Your computer is just not going to work. So how do we do that? For me, and how I explain for my clients, is that when we can see our previous chapters from an eagle eyes, from a bird's eye view, from an eagle view, where we spread our wings out and we can look down onto our chapters, and we can look at them chapters, no matter how hard they were, we can look at them and come from a place of absolute unconditional love. We can come to them and look at them from a frequency of absolute unconditional love. That's nothing you can fake. That is something you have got to do and go through to finalize. And eventually we have finalized all of the open chapters, and we can start scripting the version of ourselves that we truly desire to live as the woman we desire to be. Now I'm going to have a sip of my cacao. So the part that I shared, this beautiful friend, she's been telling me for a while, she's like, you're not sharing enough. People don't know who you are. And I said, well, I don't see the need to ravel the path. I don't see the need to speak about it. And she said, well, you live in this fluffy, everything is amazing part of your life. And I said, yeah. Last 6 months of my life, the past 12 months have been very different. The past 6 months of my life, I have truly embodied my higher self. I've come into a state, a reality where I truly feel like the wealthiest person in the world. I have such deep inner peace. I feel incredibly abundant. I stop myself numerous times a day and say how incredible is life. This life is magic. And it just feels so good to be alive. Now, we all have stories. And I always say there's no story that is worse or better than anyone else. There is no story that is heavier than anyone. You know, they're all just stories. They're all chapters of our book. They're all parts of our life. And when you're able to fly up and spread your wings and just see your old chapters, your previous chapters, from that view, and you have nothing but absolute unconditional love, you move on, you move forth. So today I shared something with my friend. I don't know why, it just came through. And there she is crying. And it truly impacted her. She said, I understand you now in such a different way. And the incredible thing was that I sat there and I was emotionally unattached to that story. Now, for anyone that has done the work, if that's what we're going to call it, know that it takes a lot of work to be able to actually work through an old chapter and to be able to speak about it without any emotions attached to it. Any emotion except pure love for the situation, for the event, for the experience. And I sat there and I told her, and she's sitting there crying, and I had absolutely no emotions attached to it. I just felt love, pure love for that moment, for that experience, that part of my life. It's part of my chapter. It has truly brought me to who I am. And now, yes, that can sound like bullshit, and that's what people... It's actually the truth. And you can't explain it until you truly experience it. And now we're going to say, excuse me as I'm sipping on my cacao, but you don't have to excuse me. I'm just going to sit here and sip on my cacao. And if you want to listen to my story, you will. And soak up what you desire to soak up from it. So there was this point in my life where I moved into a shed, a very, very big shed, at the top of a hill. It was just an empty shell. There was cabinetry, cabinets from a kitchen, but no running water. And so a massive shed, concrete floor, basically just a flat, not flat, it was actually on an angle, but a level, like just a really, really light shed at the top of a hill. And there was this cupboard that was meant to be in a kitchen. And that was about it. Now, from the concrete floor up to where the sheets, like the tin sheets that was wrapped around the shed, started, was a gap of about a foot. Now here I was. I must have been 30, just before I turned 30 actually. Just before I turned 30. I'm going to explain something else for you. That when we're in a state of fight or flight, time sort of disappears. We don't really understand time. And if you haven't spent a lot of time in fight or flight, this is something that might sound really strange to you. But saving mechanism of the human being is that when we're in certain situations, our mind actually starting to forget things. There is no understanding of time. Some memories are totally disappeared. So I can't really put a pinpoint on when this actually occurred. But it must have been sometime just before I turned 30. I was in this shed. My ex-husband had decided he was going to drive around Australia, so he bought a mobile home. He found me this shed. I had a job. And he said, let's go and have a look at the pound. We had a dog who was our baby, Oceans, hence my name. I took the name Oceans from our dog. And we went to the pound. I said, I'm not interested in having a dog, another one. Well, he had something else in plan, clearly. We went to the pound and I found a dog, Oki. She's still with me. Fell in love, and my ex-husband was adamant that I was going to get this dog. He obviously had in mind that I had to have somewhere to live and I had to have someone with me. So I got this dog. Anyway, I was in this shed by myself. He disappeared. And didn't disappear, but out of the picture. So I was in this shed. So I had to make do of the situation. Worked in a cafe. I didn't have any money really saved. I was on the other side of the world because I fell in love and I decided to move and leave everything behind to come and be with this person. Very stubborn, as I still am. And there was no way I was going home. There was no way I was coming home with what I thought was with the tail between my legs, saying that I failed. So I was in this shed, make do of a situation. There was a lady that owned a shed and she lived in a house a little bit further down the hill. Now this was a very different lady. She was a very tough lady. Anyway, in this shed, so what do I do? Well, I had to make a bed, so I built a bed. I wish I could show you photos, but I actually deleted every single photo that I possibly had from my past life. So I don't have any photos left. For some very strange reason, Google exists, Google Photos. And I get these random old photos popping up. And I don't know why, because I never had Google Photos. But technology works in mysterious ways. So sometimes there's old photos popping up. So I built this big bed. And me and my dog slept in the bed at the top of the hill, in the middle of farm area. Barren hinterlands. And I was basically surrounded by snakes and rats and frogs and all different things. Laying in bed at night, all I could hear were all this different sound from different creatures. I had my dog and we snuggled up. So I had to protect myself, so I went and got like this dream weaver, dream catcher, dream nets that I put them, mossy nets, but more like decoration dreamers. So I went and got a massive one of them and I put it around my bed, so at least when I was sleeping at night time, I would tell myself that nothing would come into my bed. Now I sort of tried to set up a little kitchen. Had no running water, so I had these water tanks. Now I came to the shower. I had to be able to wash myself, right, because I still had to go to work. So I took my little 2-door budgie, my car, to Bunnings. I was like, how the hell am I going to make a shower, a bath? So I went to Bunnings. And they had a bathtub on special, so I bought the bathtub. Jammed it in my car. Now I had this little camping shower that actually heated, with gas bottle heated. the water. So I placed the bath where the biggest slope was so the water could run straight onto the concrete floor and out into the paddock. I screwed and hammered and set the shower up so I sort of could have a shower. Amazing. I had a shower. Now the toilet, you had to walk outside, and further up on the hill was this really, 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 really old toilet. Just basically an old bathroom sitting at the top of the hill. Very weird. There was walls, but they were like half broken walls. It was basically the frame of the walls where there was a shower, non-usable. And there was the toilet and a sink. So I could go to the toilet. Now, this toilet hasn't been used for however long. It was just sitting at the top of the hill. Quite gross. But there was a toilet. Now, if I had to go to the toilet after it became dark at night, it was pretty daunting. So I had to figure out some lighting. So I went to Bunnings and I got some lights that turn on by themselves, sensor lights, so that I could actually go to the bathroom. Now I set this little home up. I needed a desk, so I went to Bunnings and I bought doors. And doors was the cheapest way for me to build a desk. So I bought doors, and at this time of my life, I was really good at creating furniture with milk crates. The crazy crate lady is what my partner later, my beautiful man that I still have in my life, he started calling me the crazy crate lady. I built many furniture with milk crates. So I collected milk crates and I made a very big desk. It was my table and desk. 2 doors. And I set that up. And then I got a broomstick and I hanged it up some funny way. And that was my wardrobe. So I had all my clothes hanging up. And I actually had a tiny little TV on top of milk crates. And I had a old cable drum as a table next to my bed. Now this was my life. Now my dog started to become really naughty and she started to escape, and I had to bring her to work and I had to chain her up at the cafe so that I could work and still earn some money. And I worked for a little while. Now, that was my reality. And if you've been in situations, you're realizing that you do what you have to do to get through certain experiences in life. Sometimes you actually don't have a choice. I mean, you always have a choice, but I chose to survive. I always chose to survive. I'm an excellent survivor. And I'm absolutely excellent to get through situations. I'm excellent coming through up with solutions and make the most out of things. So that was my life. Now, how long did I live there for? To be really honest, I actually don't know. As I said, your mind, when you're in constant fight or flight, actually start to cut out to keep you protected. And this was at the end of very many chapters prior to that. So at this state, I had very many chapters that was very open and very unfinished. But this was my life. And I still found magic in that moment. I used to take my dog for walks down the country road, down the farm road every single day, or go for jogs and runs every single day. Running became part of my life. When I moved to Australia, I said I'm going to learn to love to run because I never liked running. And I fucking did. I learned how to love to run. So this was my story. There is so much more to tell, but oh my God, it started 11th of January, 11 o'clock. So this was my reality. This was my life. There was no lock on my door. There was a gap between the door. On a farm, anything could creepy crawl in. I would lay in bed at night. I would listen to all of the creatures. I had to build my bed. I mean, didn't have to, but I did. I built my bed. I created a shower situation. I created the plumbing to come from the tap on the outside garden tap into my shower. I created a bathroom out of a freaking broken down bathroom. I still went to work. I then had to put my dog. Actually, she always escaped. And I was like, where the fuck is she escaping from? So I bought this really, really big esky and I had to fill it with water all the way up so that she couldn't move it to get through the gap. Hilarious. One time I had this brand new Porsche Cayenne with a beautiful lady, and she called the number and tag, and she actually brought my dog to work. And she said, oh, your dog looks so lost. She found her right at the front of our shed. She was just running around. She was a puppy. And this beautiful lady said, oh my gosh, you put my dog in your like brand new Porsche can. And she didn't care. She was just so happy to look after my dog. But this was my reality, and that was just life, you know. And looking at it now, I have absolutely no emotional attachment to it except love. All I have is truly love. And there's so many more parts of that. But years before that, I remember this vivid time. It was a very long time before that. Years before that, I lived in a warehouse in Byron. And I remember praying so hard one night. And I was praying and I was praying and I was praying. And we also had a church next door. So there was a lot of God energy around. But I remember this night I walked downstairs and I was laying with the Bible and I prayed so hard. And I went through a really deep journey that night. I actually physically vomited from all of the things coming through and coming out of me, which might sound very weird, and it was fucking weird at the time. And I was praying so hard. All I want is to be loved for who I truly am. All I want is to be loved for who I truly am. All I want is to be loved for who I truly am. All I want is to be loved for who I truly am. I prayed so hard on it. I just want someone to see me and love me for who I truly am. I always had faith. There was years of me not wanting to wake up the next day. There was years of a lot of different experiences. It was years of daily anxiety. There was years of panic attacks. There was years of trying to end my life. There was so many different experiences. And they're all part of my book, right? They're all part of my chapters. But I remember living in this shed. And even before this shed, I wanted to live in a home with cow and ocean views. And I basically got that in the shed. I had a cow paddock right at the front. The ocean, I could not really see it, but it was there at the bottom of the mountain, of the hill. Anyway, it was time to leave the shed. I couldn't stay because the lady decided that she had to kick me out. I actually forgot about that part and I just remembered. So I finally got a home, which was the shed, and I finally made it mine. And then all of a sudden, this lady, she changed her mind. She didn't want to have me there anymore. It wasn't working anymore. To be fair, the lady was very mentally unhealthy. So I'm probably lucky she kicked me out. She actually took her life not long after that. So I'm very grateful that she actually got me out of there. But she kicked me out. I was like, what the hell am I going to do now? Oh, that's what happened. Anyway, so I had to pack myself up. And I had a friend that actually before that, like I'm saying, when you're living in fight or flight, your memory actually goes freaking wonk. And then when you talk about things, puzzle pieces come together. So I moved out of the shed and I had to sleep for a little while in my two-door hatchback car, whatever you call them, small cars, with my dog. So I would drive to different car parks. I would drive to a car park often near the water, and I would sleep in the car, and I'll be fucking shit scared. But I would sleep in the car, and then I would wake up, and I would drive my car to the kennel so I could go to work because I couldn't keep taking my dog to the cafe. So I would drive my dog to the kennel and have her there overnight. I did that for a little bit, and then a beautiful friend of mine, Byron living situations are very different. So I had a friend, she was renting a garage that she turned into a bedroom, a nice bedroom. It was a beautiful house at the top. And she said, you can come and sleep at the floor of my garage, and yes, you can bring your dog. So grateful. Anyway, I think I used to earn $600 a week working in a cafe. And I seen this house coming up on a farm, a beautiful, freaking beautiful studio house, like self-contained house, but 1 bedroom, which was a couple of streets away from the shed where I used to live. But we're talking farmland, so a fair way away. And I went to this house and I was like, fuck, this is amazing. How am I going to do this? The rent was $450 a week. I earned $600 a week. Now, bear in mind that I had been impregnated my brain with the secret in every single way possible since 2007. So for about 8 years, I had already been working on the law of attraction, manifestation, numerous vision board, understanding how my brain works. So much work already. So anyway, so I lived in the shed, then I lived in my car, then I lived on the floor of my friend's house, dropped my dog at the kennel so I could go to work. And this house came up for rent. So I went to look at this house, this beautiful freaking 1 bedroom cottage house on a farm. Absolutely stunning. And I walked up and I looked at the house and I was like, holy shit, this is amazing. Fully furnished. Can you believe it? Fully furnished house with a massive cow paddock at the front with cows everywhere. There was a house a little bit further up, like pretty close on the same property. A lady owned the house and she lived there. And the person that was showing me the property was her personal assistant. So I looked at this house, fully furnished, freaking amazing house. I was like, holy shit, this is amazing. $450 a week, I earned $600. And I started talking to Anna, beautiful Anna, on the veranda. I was remembering it. We were standing on this big, beautiful veranda at the front of this house talking. And she said she was from Sydney and I mentioned my ex-husband's name. And she looked at me. I'm just going to tell you something. There is no such thing as coincidence. Just so you freaking understand this, I want you to truly understand that there is no such thing in life as coincidence. She knew him. They used to spend a lot of time together in their 20s. And she looked me straight in my eyes. And she said, the house is yours. And I went, holy shit, did you look at my application? I earn $600 a week. She goes, I don't care. She goes, if you have spent 8 years with this man and you are here right now, the house is yours. She goes, I do not care what the paper is saying. The house is yours because I know you will make it work. Thank you. I got the house. I moved into the house. And about 2 weeks after that, a friend said to me, oh, maybe a bit more than 2 weeks actually. Again, when you're living in constant fight or flight, your brain cuts out. A while after I moved in, not long though, my friend said, come to the pub after work. I said, oh, don't want to. Anyway, I went down to the pub. There was this guy. I was like, oh, okay, let's see if I still got it in me. And I did. And I was absolutely sober. Went home. Did a few things and then went home. You know what happened. And, you know, in the morning, I still remember it. I was in the shower and he walked in and I absolutely freaked out. And he couldn't understand why I freaked out. We still joke about it sometimes. He said, you looked so scared. And the thing was, I said, I just want someone to see me for who I am and love me for who I am. And he fucking did that. He did that. He really did. He seen me for who I was. And that is just part of the chapter. That is just a chapter. That is part of the book. But I want you to understand that there's nothing in life that is a coincidence. Coincidences don't happen. It's synchronicities. There is clues. There is crumbs. There is no such thing as fucking coincidence. That is non-existent. So for me to be here now, 18 years later from when this crazy experience started when I came to Australia. Obviously, there's chapters from before Australia, but Australia's chapters have been major. So when I now sit at the front of my house every single day, and this has happened in the last 6 months, I have truly embodied my higher self. And I fucking mean it when I say it. And I'm so proud of it, and I will not stop talking about it. When I sit at the front of my house every single damn morning, I sip on my cacao, or my hot water, or my lemon tea, or my Chillajet, whatever I'm drinking. I sit there. I listen to the birds. I speak into Mother Earth. I connect with my body, my soul, and I feel like the wealthiest person in the entire world. Life feels magical. Yes, I would love a new house, and I know it's coming. And yes, this might look different, but these are all physical, tangible things. But the thing is that none of these things that I thought were going to change my life were actually going to change my life. The thing is that I had to change from the inside out, and I fudging have done that. That feeling that I feel internally, if someone dropped $2 million into my account tomorrow, the feeling that I have inside would still be the same. It wouldn't change because there was a new house, or because there was a new area, or because there was more money, or more this, or more that. That internal feeling that I have would not change for something in my external world. I have worked hard for that feeling. I have really done a lot of things to find my true self. And the past 6 months, the past year, I have truly embodied my higher self. So I think I should share my stories a little bit more for you to understand where I'm coming from. And understanding that we all have stories. And I tell you all the time, we have all crawled through the mud puddles just like the beautiful lotus. And the mud puddles, it doesn't matter how deep they are, how thick they are, whatever they are, they're experiences. We all have them. And they're only part of our book. They're part of our life. And when you choose to decide to become a conscious creator of your life, when you choose to actually take responsibility for your life, I mean, sitting in the victim seats where it's all nice and comfortable and you can blame everything on everyone, and we all done that. I did that for a long time. It's quite comfortable because it keeps us, we think it keeps us safe. But when we decide to leave that seat because it's actually not serving us, and we start to take responsibility for our life, and we actually want to go into our previous chapters that are unclosed, we want to go back to them. And I'm not saying we're going to go back and cry about them. I'm saying we're going to go back to the chapters until we can see them from a bird's eye view, and we can actually put a stop, finalize our previous chapters and close them. And once we have closed all previous chapters, we can actually move on and start scripting the future as the way we truly desire to live. And I tell you what, I truly have embodied my higher self. I love myself deeply and completely in every single damn freaking way. Yes, I'm human. There is ups and there is downs. Absolutely. I would be lying if that wasn't the truth, if I didn't share that with you. But the truth is, I have truly embodied my higher self, and I feel such deep peace inside, and it's such a delightful, delicious freaking feeling. I tell you what, there is no external thing that could possibly come close to changing that. So for all of those years when I laid in bed praying, I just want to be seen and heard and loved for who I truly am. I want someone to love me for who I truly am. Who I was speaking to was me. So even though I said that when I was in the shower that day and my partner's seen me and he actually loved me, yes, that might have been truth. But it still took me years after that to realize that for me to receive absolute unconditional love, I had to first see myself. I had to love myself deeply and completely, and I didn't. It took a very long time. It took me to freaking crumble to the bottom to start realizing that if I want to be seen, heard, and loved for who I truly am, I need to start listening to myself. I need to start seeing myself, and I need to really freaking love myself. And that takes practice. And that was my dog waking up from a dream. And I'm so proud of all and everything that I have done, because I sit here now so proud of myself. And for many reasons. But there is so much understanding. I choose to be the student. I choose to educate myself. I choose to learn. I choose to thrive for more. Not more as in more dollars or more things, more depth of myself. I want to know every single part of myself. When it feels scary, I want to go further. When I feel I can't do it, I want to prove to myself I can do it. Because I am the creator of my life. I'm the master of my life. Why do I love breath work so much? Because it's freaking purity. Why do I love jumping in that ice bath so much? Because I prove for myself that no matter how much my body tells me I can't do it and I'm going to die, I prove for my body that I can do it and I'm more than capable of doing it. Over and over and over and over and over again, I have proved for my body that I am more than capable of doing things. Now, I did that for a very long time, but I did that for a very long time in a state of fight or flight. I was absolutely ruining and wrecking my internal body to the core. Absolutely ripped myself apart because I went through, I survived, I continued to surviving, getting through, but I did that on reserve, on my reserve tank. When I was doing this, I was in such deep state of fight or flight that I was tearing my body apart internally, absolutely mush. And continue on that for so long takes its toll on your body and on your mind. And I came to the point when I had my daughter that I knew I had to make a change. So I decided, I took responsibility to make a change, and I did. I freaking reprogrammed my mind in such a deep way. Am I finished? I don't believe we're ever going to be finished. But I have embodied my higher self. I'm in such clear connection to my higher self, and I live with such bliss inside of myself, in such deep peace, and I'm so in love with life. Yeah. So that's what I want to share with you all. Thank you for listening. You've spent nearly 40 minutes allowing for yourself to receive my wisdom. And I want you to know that my words is medicine. So for you just sitting here listening is you allowing for yourself to receive my medicine. For that I'm grateful, incredibly grateful. I appreciate you. If you do enjoy what you're listening to, please let me know. If you enjoy it, please share with your friends and family. Allow for other people to listen to my stories. Hey friends. To listen to my stories. My dog, Oki, the one that was with me in the shed, she's still here. Allowing for yourself to receive. I say it all the time. When you find people that light you up, allow for them to continue to light you up. Soak their light up as much as you possibly can. If that's listening to free podcasts, freaking listen over and over and over and over and over again until you're ready to commit, until you are ready to take responsibility and actually take action to make change in your life. When you are ready to step into that, let me know and I'll show you the way. So much love. And if you're listening to this right now on the 11th of January, 11111, If you're listening to this now, I highly encourage you and invite you to have a look at my Ultimate Self-Discovery Retreat happening 7th to the 9th of March. It will sell out. It will be a fully booked retreat. At the moment, I have a few spots left. 3 days, 2 nights of absolutely deep transformation, of finalizing chapters and calling in your true self and embody your true self and understanding how to continue that journey for the rest of your life, being absolutely held and supported. It is not a relax by the pool retreat. It is a deep, deep transformational retreat for the woman that is truly ready to jump out of that victim seat and start taking responsibility for your life. That might sound triggering, and that's okay. But when you're ready, you know when to find me. Sending you so much love and light. Mwah. Thank you for listening.